very keen to ask the question, where were they before this tournament ended or started? Because I don't think they were inside the top 10, right?
They were not. They were 13th, if my memory serves correctly. Let me scroll and check. No, they were not. Hold on. Let me do a little Control F as we go here. Exit. They were in 16th, so they had 98 points. 98 points across the first 6 games. So far, in the first 2 games, so far already, they've got 82. So they've nearly doubled their points in 2 games in comparisons to the 6 that they played yesterday, which is crazy. So I've told you, some teams wake up on day number 2, they have an extra level of confidence, almost like underperforming and middling in day number 1, gives them that boost, gives them that energy to hit the back-to-back victory royales.
Yeah, and look at this. That's the second time, by the way, we've watched Shark and Knight go back-to-back with consecutive victory royales. Last time they did it was in Chapter 2, Season 4. And this is a feature or a feat that, you know, pretty unheard of, right? Not a lot of teams have done this. I mean, I challenge the crew to let us know who else has gone for back-to-backs, especially in a final-style setting, because, yeah, I'm sure we can count them most likely on our 2 hands.
I mean, yeah, it's minimal. Like, even teams who pick up victory royales in finals, just like singular victory royales in finals, is incredibly impressive. So to have 2 different times where you've picked up back-to-back is absolutely crazy. And in that one, obviously, they had AV with them, and there was a full exit trio rather than having Clarity G. They end up placing 8th. So right now, like, we're looking for a top 10 finish from these guys from the way that they're performing, if history is anything to judge.
Yeah, for sure. As we talked about how the zone is going to play a factor for Commandment Sense and Edgy here. Now, the real question, is it going to be answered right now? There's a team that just slipped by, and we already know the more time you spend here, the less time they have to actually farm up some Storm Surge tags or take a fight. It's going to be very important for them right now where they decide to go. They're going to cut directly center. They're going north to try and see if they can find teams migrating south here, giving up their beautiful spot where the zone is probably likely to pull in the coming moments here. For Tabs G, Pledge, and Teo, though, they're on the move right now. Teo just on fire. This is a team that obviously got together this season. New trio right now. We're watching just figure it out here today.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not careful, they will quite literally be on fire with that car getting so weakened at the same time. So they have been popping off, and to be honest with you, they are the Weeping Woods team, right? That's where they drop. So their positioning here is so important because they can claim those hills to the east really well for the best Storm Surge positions. But right now, this isn't the one that's going to give them the best sight lines by any means. Being down on the south side, being up on that north side can give you 360-degree views, and that's what you really need. Right now, they're really limiting themselves to the teams who are over peaking up north, which, trust me, for these top level teams is not going to be many tags at all, and basically unscented NG and Commandment who are down below rotating out, who are veterans and hopefully won't let you be tagged up for them. But I am slightly concerned actually for Scented Commandment and Edgy. They're wanting the south zone. Now they're going to be boxing up on the lake. Again, a position that's not going to give them too many sightlines over that many players. So hopefully they have this figured out.
Not to mention, they just took the vehicle to this northern landmass and then went right back from where they came from, right? So lost material, lost HP, heals, and all that stuff in the process there, and probably didn't find tags. We didn't see a gun duel by any means between those 2 trios right there. So, yeah, they didn't really gain much for that other than a time loss and some HP loss, and now a poor positioning here. As we jump on over to Dubs, Rokane, and Mega, again, their draw spot in particular is about as center as you can get for a major POI. So more often than not, they're not really looking to move around in the early game here, and they shouldn't have too much of an issue finding a fight, as the zone is almost always going to favor their drop.
It's true, and on this north side of the second zone, there's going to be a ton of players congested there, and hopefully they can take advantage of that for shots. You can see Rokane only has 2 sniper shots. Oh, I take that back as he gets dropped from Dubs. So now he's got enough ammo to make sure he can take those tags, right? So little quick stat flying into Rokane individually took his team from 17th to 6th last game. That is a crazy clutch, actually. That's basically the entire moving zones, because like usually when that first moving zone starts, you're going to see roughly 17 teams up. So to make it to top 6, that is a huge clutch.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping to see when we watch those other teams just start to break apart, right? Our top few trios, like when Commandment was a solo, when you know, the entire lobby run was on Duke's back there, but it's hard to do. Very few get to do it, and when you do, I mean, you get awesome stats like that flown for you. So we'll continue to keep you guys in the know-how here for what's unfolding. Because right now, Rokane and company just trying to continue to find these shots here. Very important that they get these tags to stay in the game right now. And look, the zone. Look at the zone, Reese. It kind of pulls north here just a bit.
Yeah, it's more North Pole, which still means that north side's going to be heavily congested. You can see that with the amount of teams who've rotated south from the north side, like the Craggy Cliffs teams. I'm imagining we may see Macwood's team if they're still up in this game, or P-God's team potentially still around. No, P-God's team is actually out, so potentially Macwood's team is one of those teams who they're looking to take shots on right now. They're poising that sniper to go for it. Ooh, and I was thinking we might get a little ankle shot, but no, only the 20 is going to come through for them. So I'm thinking right now, right, if they manage to get in a little bit deeper, they may be in a good spot, but there's going to be so many teams situated on those hills to the south of them, because that's always where the players get boxed up on these kind of zones. So I'm thinking they may have a tough rotate if they leave it a little bit too late, getting pinched between these two teams. And it seems like now that the damage threshold has popped up, they're okay. It was getting me worried for a minute there. They're okay. They're 299 above.
Hey man, there's too much competitive history and experience behind this trio for them not to be okay right now coming into the middle of the day 2. They're looking to be pretty set up here. Now, mind you, they're fighting for top 10. They're just trying to fight their way right back into things here. They're just outside the bubble. Thousands of dollars make the difference between being outside that top 10 and breaking into those lower placements, I should say.
But every little bit counts, remember. Once you get into a top 10, a top 15, top 20, each one of these thresholds gets you more and more money. And once you're in that top 10, it's every single placement from there, 9, 8, once you get 7th, and so on all the way up till 1st, you get more and more money. So for them, like, they're vying for that top 10 so far, but it all adds up when it comes to the money, the dosh and the moolah, you know?
Oh, look at this. They dropped the mark here. Justice using Dukes. And I think that's onto Sensei Edge and Commandment's base. And now they're on the move here. They're just trying to find any trio here. They need these tags. 14 players have to go down, and they recognize that shots come out of this base here. That's a sign. They want the fight. Oh, look at the trio. Teo, Tabs, G, and Pledge is a very, very big fight. Very important fight for our number 1 and 2 seeded teams right now. And this is a fight that Justice using Dukes are going to take if they cannot find a tag here when they look inwards. But the lobby's starting to notice they migrated towards the space, so they are definitely looking for Surge right now.
Regardless of the outcome this fight, it's going to be massive on the leaderboards unless both teams somehow manage to go down and they're start triple spraying that wall. But again, like we've mentioned many times, these teams need to be more aggressive. They're playing so safe. They're playing for tags, but most of the time it just doesn't work out in this situation, as we see Knifer's team push on in, who also needs to get tags. So this may actually end up working out for them, and it does for Justice, who manages to get tags on the desperate team. But no, they've been traded back at the same time. Justice now down to 68 above, now 66 above the threshold, but only 68 HP, so they cannot afford to get hit anymore or stall more time. They're still going to need more tags. I see Donnie's team is one of the teams who's below, so they are going to be very aggressive and try to not panic. But Tabs G's team potentially could just make the most of this, as we see Justice team now getting sprayed from Jack, Acorn, and Slacks as well. All of the top contenders coming in, as we see Justice being picked up, almost fully finished now, down to no HP, but the chug cannon could be clutch. Users now down to 37 HP. The pressure being applied. He's trying to get outside of the box, trying to do what he can in this situation now as a duo, and I think he's finally got some time to breathe.
They've done it. They actually clutched up, though. That was almost very terrible for them. Although they lost a player here, they do manage to stay alive. And what a clash of names here, guys. Jack, Acorn, and Slacks, our 4th place team, out of nowhere just come bulldozing right into the builds here. And it looks like they're not done. They managed to heal up. They're looking for more now. I think they've recognized, hey, this is Duke's users. We can get in here. We can actually take these guys down. They already got Justice. Might as well finish up the deed here. Little do they know, though, they have to be careful. On the other side of the wall, our number 1 team of Tabs, G, Teo, and Pleasure here. These shots can also bring their interest to the battle. So 1st, 2nd, and 4th are not safe in this little dangerous mix we have going on here.
It's true, and this right now, if you're sending Commandment Edgy, you've got a big smile on your face, because you're just seeing all of the other teams who are getting chunked away from your HP and your materials. But it seems like Slacks, Acorn, and Jack potentially have done very well from that, actually. Potentially not actually done too much damage. Same with Teo's team. Yes, they got the HP, but I want to know, did that impact their inventory? Like, how much were they situated before? We know they had good materials before that, but is that going to scuff them up a little bit? Because Donnie's team pushed up, we saw a ton of tags coming out on them, so we'll have to see how that ends up impacting their inventory. Remember, they are currently 1st place right now, too, so that's going to be huge for them. We haven't seen Send Command and Edgy for a while, so I'm hoping they've put themselves into a good spot. They've got their tags, they've situated themselves relatively close to center on 3rd, which we know they're very frequently able to do. So we'll see for them.
No, Commandment, Sense, and Edge are definitely in this game. I'm pretty sure I saw Commandment's name in the feed there while that very important fight was going down. So, yes, they are still up. They're still active here, continuing to make their little bits of waves here. Pledge, Tabsy, and Teo, though, they have 3 eliminations. So they won that entire engagement against the Storm Surge team of Knife that was pushing on in, trying to see if they can actually, you know, again, find their surge, find their footing in the game. But instead, they hit the brick wall here. Pledge, Teo, and Tabsy now have everything that they need. And look at how big this tarp is, right? This is giving them so much space, making their way to new zone. And now they get to get this airdrop here, which is going to get them a full-on launch pad here soon.
I asked the question, I wonder how this is going to have impacted them in that fight. Clearly, when they picked up the eliminations onto Donnie's team had ample materials, so they could just tunnel their way all the way in, refresh and drop the mats as they go. So they are in such a good spot at this moment. Almost center zone. Sure, they don't have good visibility on the rest of the map because they are more low ground when they have these teams like Acorn's team and Eonzo's team up around looking down. But at the same time, look, they're gonna have launch pads. They've just managed to grab the supply drop, so regardless of where they have to go, they're gonna be a-okay alongside the fact that they're pretty close to center, so they're probably gonna get in the next zone as well.
Now I'm wondering, the users and Dukes, okay, I was gonna say they have 2 options. They can break into the enemy tarp and follow them all the way through dead center, or go around the base here. They're gonna go out and decide to go on foot through the base as Slacks, Acorn, and Jack just steamroll into Nut, Eonzo, and company up on the mountain there. You can see a little fight breaking out there, so the distraction is up. Might as well start going now, and there it is. They do see those builds. They recognize, hey, we can actually get this free rotate here, take advantage of that. And they do get to cross for free here. Now, mind you, they have to start conserving as much material and stuff as possible here. So I was hopeful to see them jump in that build just to see if they can find some old leftover builds, but looks like that's not going to be the play that they decide to go with here. And we'll find out if it ends up punishing them, because they're starting to run out of material quickly.
They are starting to run out quickly, but yeah, again, they're still far below because, you know, their worries are not over for this game. They're still going to have to figure out what they do next, right? You can't just slow down forever. The next Storm Surge threshold is going to come through at the same time, and they're still situated next to Pledge, Tabsy, and Tail, the first place team, and Jukes is looking. They're going to try and do something here, but that's not necessarily the team that you want to apply pressure to. They're the most successful team in the entire world. Signature play always to reapply the pressure as they do, which they haven't been doing too successfully today, but they're going to slow down, not necessarily go for it yet, look for any more opportunities, but they have 13 seconds before that Storm Surge starts to tick.
Yeah, up next is the battle for all the marbles here. They have to pick and choose what team they're going to go up against, and oh no, the edit comes out, the punishment comes in. It's going to be valuable seconds lost here as the Surge is now going to start to get active, and they are far below. Not only that, early chug cannon usage there as well, so everything that they need to be saving here to combat the Storm Surge is now being used prematurely. A fight breaks out up top. They're trying to take advantage of this. Will there be enough tags? That's one, but no, they need so much more. This might just be it for Dukes, Justice, and Users. Game 3 of day number 2. This is 9 of 12 here for the finals, and they came in with a 50-point lead today, and all of a sudden, they're heartbreaking watching. It is so heartbreaking watching it just slip away game after game here, struggle after struggle. Tabs, Pledge, and Teo are probably listening to those audio cues. Look at Tabs walking up here. He grabs the wall. They make the edit, and it seems like they're starting to clean up this fight.
That's what's so tough. You do not want to sit next to the one team in the lobby that you don't want to eliminate you, because like you said, they're going to have the audio cues of them being tagged by Surge. We saw them being picked up, Users then going down, which gives them those additional points, right? Duke's now just going to try to do whatever he can, hits that launch pad, fly through the air. I'm sure if he makes it down to the ground, he's lucky, but he just made it down where he's going to be picked up by, unfortunately, Voil, who has actually been popping off in this game, but Acorn, Slacks, and Jack now situated in such a good spot. 600 above the Storm Surge threshold here, looking so good going into the moving zones.
That's another team that falls right outside that top 17. Remember, that's that next threshold you absolutely want to be making it to round after round. So you're at least getting 8 points, right? Keeping you in the game, keeping you in the run. When you don't earn those big placement thresholds, that is it, right? Like, you are really setting yourself off pace here. Edgy, Sense, and Commandment managed to make it on through. They are still up just next door. Remember, that's our third place team, so first and third are still up. Fourth, of course, being Acorn, Jack, and Slacks, still in this game now already. Continue to put the pressure here. It seems like they're sitting very far up above the Surge somehow, some way, because they barely have elims, but they're still in the game right now, which is phenomenal for them.
Good positioning, good tags is all it takes for some of these top teams. We're going to do a little check-in now to our third place team, Scented Commandment Edgy. 92 builds, just sitting right at the edge of Storm. Almost no room for them to work with. And we're going to have to see how they play this first moving zone here. Already finding the dead side. A great spot to pad on. No one blocking their heads. And this is what we normally like to see from Scented Commandment Edgy. Landing as far ahead as they possibly can. This is clinical play for them. But at the same time, he gets absolutely beamed out of the air. And there's a huge big drop-off. So Scented is going to take this opportunity. Not even as he lands to heal. He's going to build himself some space in for his team to ensure they are completely safe, and then they're going to heal up.
This is it. They're looking very cash strapped right now. They're in big needs here. Scented has to pause down. Again, these are valuable seconds, guys. They are losing on rotating to the front side of zone, where, you know, traditionally you see Scented, Commandment, and Edgy leading the rotates, not trailing behind here, trying to figure it out. Here comes the launch pad nice and early, trying to get to that front side. This is where we normally see them, and they're a lot higher than the usual as well, but hey, this is the safer layer for the time being. They all touch down on one another. How can they begin to fight back here, find some elims, and continue to lead their way, push their way through this rotate right now? Because that is what's most important, is staying alive, staying in front. On the backside though, you saw Jack goes down to Larson. He's gonna get knocked there, and all of a sudden now competition starting to fall here. This is an opportunity for Scented, Commandment, and Edgy.
Yep, Scented just trying to do what he can with this low amount of wood just to tunnel his team in up ahead, as now Edgy's leading over the top. He has the hard materials. He's going to keep them in the game right now, but they're in an uncomfortable position for themselves. A cheap tarp in the middle of the storm with tons of teams on their lair. This is not their comfort zone. This is not where they thrive the best. They thrive the best down on that low ground positioning, popping off, applying any pressure we can, and look who's taken that slot. Pledge and Teo, but unfortunately they've actually lost Tabs G in this match so far. So again, this is another opportunity for Scented, Commandment, and Edgy to pop off, as long as Pledge and Teo don't pop off themselves in this game. As you see extra materials up there, that's going to be hard mats. I think it's just Siphon, and yes, the big elimination comes through for Pledge as well, and that's actually onto Bizzle at the back of the storm. Some hard materials now. They're going to try and get ahead and claim this low ground.
Plenty of material now as Pledge starts to take over here and lead his way through this end game here. Acorn still up. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment found their way to low ground, and the fight's breaking out. Pledge and company trying to escape the grips of Scented, Edgy, and Commandment there. They do manage to get away. They jump up to another layer. Acorn, Slacks, and Jack are now officially out here, down to the hands of Skittles. Skittles is still alive there as well. Back with Scented though, Commandment and Edgy. They have control of this low ground. Compact SMG is going to be so good down here to break through these builds, apply extra pressure, especially if he can keep it completely loaded. And this is where the points are starting to really rack up right now. They're earning everything that they need. Look at the thing shred. That Compact is so good. The pump's even better. Huge shot. Down goes Pledge. That's a big elimination. They have to catch Teo though. They have to catch Tabs G, who are still alive. They're still earning here.
Yep, Teo's getting the points in, and Scented, Command, and Edgy has to find him, has to pick him up in order to keep themselves flying up the leaderboards. Right now, 5 eliminations to their name. That's 10 points total for them down on the low ground. We see Teo at the back of the storm with no shields right behind them. He could sneak up right inside their tarp to do whatever he can, but slowly on the low ground, they're claiming space. They're playing pumps out. Their spacing is impeccable, immaculate, right next to each other. If anyone drops down into their box, they have 3 shotguns hit right into their face, and the eliminations go straight into the pocket of Scented, Commandment, and Edgy as they keep ahead of the storm right now. Kaz, Hoofishy on the layer above them. They're consistently looking up, trying to drop them down straight into their box, but Hoofishy and Kaz are doing a good job claiming ahead, and yet again up on high ground see Chucky's team, and this is it. This is where it comes out from. Hoofishy is getting pressured from down below, but he's going to have to go back into the storm. This is going to be a battle of the layer. Who will be able to claim it between Hoofishy's team and Scented's team down on the low ground?
Now, mind you, they are inside the top 5 as well. well. Who Fishy, Aspect, and Cavs managed to really stretch this game out, make success of it. Down comes the edit. Dubs, Mega, Rokane. All of a sudden, they're inside the blender here, quite literally. Senton with a misplay. He throws a heal on accident. He switched to the wrong material, and all of a sudden now Commandment has to clutch this one up. He is chasing him down. 2, 3 tags. Yes, it's enough to keep him alive, but steel sharpens steel. Down goes Commandment. It's up to Nut versus Rokane. They're the last players alive. The heals are going off, and they're on the hunt for one another. Rokane has a hunch, though. Has he managed to track him correctly? No, he runs around, turns around, hits the shot too, and down go Chucky and Nut there in the final moments, and somehow Rokane managed to clutch up here for Mega and Dubs in the end game, who, by the way, was edited down in an ambush play. Such a clean game right there for him to clutch up.
Such a clean game there for them to catch up, but at the same time, not Chucky Onzo. 16 eliminations. 1-6 elimination in second, which was crazy. My favorite play, quite frankly, sent it, chucking a med kit right at the opponent, showing them, you can heal off, I'm not going to do it instead. Just, to be honest, a whirlwind of a crazy endgame when it came down straight into that 9th zone closing. And for Mega, Rokane, and Dubs to pick up the Victory Royale, with them being 11th at this end of day number 1, this is huge for them.
Yeah, you can just really tell the nerves are high, guys, on the stage right now. But game number 9 was a one for the books. Definitely a memorable game. We're going to toss down over to Des with Zeke and company. Crunch those numbers, guys. Give us those leaderboards.
Have to, because I'm horrible at math. We have a team do that for us. You'll have to see it.
Really
wow. I like that these guys are kind of pointing out that a lot of these trios, there's a lot of chaos happening there, especially in the end game, but there's also a lot of pressure, right? We kind of saw some of this happening already in EU, right? Like, a lot of these mistakes you would assume aren't being made, but like right now, we're kind of at the tail end of the competition, right? This is finals, and if you want to be number 1, you want to walk with acts of champions, you have to be calm, cool, and collected. But the truth is, nerves absolutely play a factor in this, Vivid.
Oh yeah, 100%, especially for a lot of these new teams. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Dukes, Justice, and Users don't think they've been in a position where they have been leading in FNCS finals before. So today they have placed 28th, 18th, and 19th in each of the 3 games that we've had today. So not a good showing from them, but we know that they have the potential. Their day 1, it was not anything too crazy to not think that it can't happen again. They are there, but I just think what you're talking about, the nerves are getting to them. So if they can switch it up, switch their mindset up a little bit, these last 3 games can be huge for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? The kind of the mindset of this all and being in this position it's different. Other teams have been there before, so that could be a major factor here. But let's take a look at the standings and see how things currently lie after that last game. We can see Tabs, Teo, and Pledge retain first position right now, 173 placement points, 54 eliminations, 281 points. Chaps, they've got a 40-something lead. That's Vivid's territory, maths. Zeke and I, we don't touch it. That's Vivid's territory. But still, a substantial lead, almost what Dukes had yesterday going into day 2. So, things can change on a dime. That's exactly what's happened. We're going to take a look at one of our trios now, actually. Night Shark and Clarity, who we've seen actually in the first 2 games today got back-to-back victory royales. And it's good to see that these guys, obviously, they've been around for a long time, been around the block, and to see them have a great start. I think yesterday they finished up in 16th position with 98 points. Coming into today and suddenly back-to-back victory royales, really propelling themselves up the leaderboard here. And what we love to see is they have this great combination. They've got the ability, not necessarily eliminations aren't the strongest point, but a way of survival. Survival is always key for these boys, managing to find their way into that end zone, whatever the cost. And always, I think Vivid, in my personal opinion, managing to make a great case to get that victory royale, hence why they've done it twice already.
Yeah, they actually are our only team in the finals right now to have 2 victory royales. They're the only team that has done it twice over the games that we have played, and they did it back to back. So they didn't have a good game right there, the one that we were just watching. However, that does not mean that these last 3 games cannot be huge for them. And our spotlight is going to be going to none other than our leaders right now, Tabji, Teo, and Pledge. 20-point games. Wow. They have 9 20-point games. Adam, how many games have we played?
9 games.
Yeah, so
that's all the
games they have played. Yeah, they've had 20-point game every single game that we have played. Elims versus top 10, 31. These guys are finding a lot of their eliminations in those final moments of the game in that top 10 scenario. Time without teammate, 137 seconds, which means that in just over 3.5 hours of gameplay that we have played over these 9 games, they've only spent just over 2 minutes not as a full trio. These guys are playing together like no other.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, I can do simple maths there, guys. I got it right to a degree. But you're absolutely right here. And, I love that stat going back to, the X8 guys and Clarity. I love that stat earlier on as well. I think we saw pop up that every time that Clarity is the tarper, they go from a 16th kind of average positioning to 8th position in the leaderboard, which just to show how vital it is when he is on point with those builds. So really excited to see what's going to happen next. We don't know, but 3 games left, fellas. Just 3 games left.
That's insane to think about, right? We just finished all the action over in Europe, and now after 3 games, we're going to crown another set of champions. Ridiculous. Once again, Fortnite fam, don't forget, watch.fortnite.com, another great way to watch. But with that being said, you guys heard the battle bus, which means we're jumping right back into all of the action. So we're going to kick it back over to MDF and Reese to take us in.
A couple more rounds left, just a couple more rounds of Fortnite left here before we will crown our FNCS finals champion of this season. Already things have gotten very, very interesting. We're seeing the difference between, especially for Duke users, being uncontested today, having a struggle with Storm Surge. Sensitive Edgy and Commandment managed to find their footing again, right? And then, of course, the consistency from Tabs and his trio, just phenomenal all day long. And all these other teams, Reese, that have really risen to the occasion today. Dubs, Rokane, Mega, Xset, Shark Knight, Clarity G, right? Like, there's just a couple teams now that are showing greatness here today.
Yeah, absolutely on fire. In particular, obviously, the Exit boys alongside Clarity G. But, one team I want to highlight. Aspect, Kaz, Hoofishy. We've been seeing them a lot. Today in particular, right, they placed, I think, what was the last few games that they had? They ended up being 11th, 10th, and then 4th. Hoofishy himself donating 40% of his prize pool to charity for when he wins. So how can you not cheer on him? How can you not cheer on him when he's donating a lot of his money to charity? What a nice guy.
That's actually a great point, man. Shout out to the man. Listen, there's a lot of awesome folks here in the community. Hoofishy being for sure one of the few pillars of positivity this scene does have. So you love to see it. And you know what? Just for that, well, let's hope for Hoofishy top 3, baby. Let's go keep it up.
Yeah.
He's on the way.
I'm going for it. Let's go.
At least, because look, he's only 30 points off of top 4, and then just a little bit beyond that, the final stretch. But right now, that 3rd place slot is being held on to by Slacks, Acorn, and Jack, who have been FNCS champions in the past. So, we got some heavy hitters up at the top of the standing right now.
It's true indeed. And, Duke's Justice and Users, not having the biggest day so far either, so they could definitely drop out. And that potentially leaves a slot open for Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofish to do it, or some of the other teams. Realistically, Duke's Justice Users, I'm thinking, can they change it up, right? They had such a monumental day 1, but day number 2? Can they turn it back on? Can they get back to their form from the previous day? And do you think that the first 3 games that they've had here are going to be a little bit of a deterrent for them? Are going to be down in the dumps?
I mean, I hope not, right? Like, it's been rough, but we talk about it, like, the difference. So the game does change from day to day, right? A day 1, only 6 games, right? That's it. You kind of get what you get from that, but then everyone gets to hit the drawing board. Everyone gets to kind of review what they did right, what they did wrong, and sometimes it just comes down to a little bit of luck on the zone as well, right? Like, let's not forget Storm and where the Storms end are a huge factor in how you perform in the game. That last game in particular, we talked about what it would mean for Duke's Justin users to have the zone fall in their favor. They didn't do much with it, but you know who did? Commandment Sense and Edgy. They make another endgame, make another splash here, a top 3, 7 elimination. So the first zone that sort of goes their way, they actually surprisingly managed to turn that whole thing around. And mind you, remember where they were positioned? In the lake, down in the water, right? Like, it looked like they were down bad.
Yeah, it didn't look like they're in the best spot for their surge in that moment, but they knew better than us. Look, they're one of the best teams, if not the best team on the region, the most consistent team, 100% hands down,
by far.
And realistically, for a reason, right? The positions they put them in, sometimes I question them. Whenever you see these top level teams, you go, what are they doing there? But then it works out realistically, and it reminds me, it gives you an ego check to be like, look, these guys know what they're doing. They put themselves in these positions for a good reason.
Now, I hate to say it, but they are shaping themselves up for a fine 2nd place right now. Like, they have to catch up to Tabs, right? G, Teo, and Pledge, who, when you look at the track record of what they've done in the last 2 days, they haven't placed outside of the top 11. They are basically the most sleeper trio we have seen in the last 2 days. And it's showing right now. That consistency is just bleeding through. Their preparation is pretty much there. And their strat, they figured it out day one. It's working day two.
Yeah, it's working better in day number 2. They've got 106 points today alone, which is absolutely insane. You know, for Commandment, Sentinel, and Edgy, these guys have been 50 points behind a team at every moment, right? They were originally 50 points behind Juke, Justice, Users. Now they're that 50 points behind Tabs, G-Tail, and Pledge. So they can get a break from teams who are just performing, right? Who've just put their foot on the gas and are accelerating like nothing else. And for Commandment, Sentinel, and Edgy, we're going to have to see that come out. We're going to have to see the same thing we saw in the later half of day number 1, with that first as well. You know, credible 3 games in a row. We're starting to see that last game third with 7 eliminations, but with these 3 games left, they're gonna have to pull all out the stops.
Time to pull out the stops. Time to pull it all out here. Booga, Nosh, and Avery have managed to find themselves up here at the Steamy Stacks. What's going on right now? Is this just like hey, we're just gonna go ahead and throw our name in the hat? Let's just get into it. You know, a couple games left. Let's have some fun with it. Maybe get some content out of this one. Otherwise, I don't know why they'd be here.
No, I know why they'd be here, because they have struggled with Storm Surge every single game today. They've been eliminated to Storm Surge 3 games in a row. They've gone from 3rd. Where are they now on the leaderboards? They are down in, I'm trying to figure out as to go, 10th, right? So they've dropped 6 placements. 3 games in a row being eliminated to Storm Surge. I called this out before when I saw this happen, that they struggled in game number 1, and they have 3 contesting teams all the way around them. They have to be able to push, do something in one of these teams. They're being gifted Storm Surge from the 3 positions around them.
Or you could just pull a Shark Knight and Clarity, get a car, and drive right into the next team you see. Don't even hesitate. Jump out, take your shots, and look, it works. I mean, they get out, they get a couple tags, and they move on out. So, you know, a little madness to the strat here, but it ends up working out for Shark Knight and Clarity, who, you know, virtually untouched at this point. They do manage to just heal up here. Blake, Scoped, and Okis are probably thinking, like, what in the psycho? Like, what just happened, right? Like, what was this?
I mean, you got to remember, though, there's contestation. There's Voil's team, I think. I'm not sure if they've still been dropping here on the second day, but on day number 1, there was 2 teams landing here, so it was Blake's team. So for them, just to grab that car and push on up, like, that's an opportunity to get Storm Surge on 2 teams who probably aren't the healthiest at that moment. So again, very similar to what we just saw with Booga, with them pushing on into Steamy Stacks. They're looking to take a fight on these contested teams who are around them, and that's basically one of the best ways to get your Storm Surge in these lobbies, because a couple 20 tags, a couple 30 tags to your AR just aren't going to cut it in this quality of lobby.
Now, here's a play I actually really love from Rokane, Dubs, and Mega. This is a very notorious hill for Storm Surge, and we haven't really seen them rotate to this spot early, like ever, right? To focus on Pleasant Park teams, and it looks like they're just taking one out of the classic book of trios in the past here. I can't put my finger on who was the trio that would always do this play here, but definitely a play that would work out.
On any East, I'm not sure, but for Aqua, Noah, Rayleigh, and Vidil, this is the spot that they set up very, very frequently on the EU side of things, and it's worked out for them the majority of times, because the sightlands, if they have a north zone, so many teams are funneled underneath them coming through Boney Burbs, because Boney Burbs becomes contested. There's so many teams. There's so much congestion. Do you remember the game yesterday? I think it may have been game 3, where we saw Saf's teams being picked up here, right? When we saw that kind of north zone where they were getting pressured inside of Boney. If they had positioned themselves here instead, they've visioned the 360-degree angles on all of the power spots, like you can see right there onto Risky Reels, a really common spot for teams to set up. Hold on, Mega's nearly been taken out by a snipe as he goes at the same time. But anyway, the positions that you're able to get from this spot are 360 degrees, so good through the most common rotation paths.
I mean, you're watching it right here. The drone shot really opening this up for us. And look at this. The markers coming out. They're looking at bases in the distance as well. Wood walls over there as teams are trying to conserve mats. So a lot of opportunity here is definitely presenting themselves to this position, like I said, that wasn't really available before at their home of Boney Burbs. Now, I do wonder, right? I do wonder. And you know, you brought up Aqua, Noah Riley, right? Did they go to the EU VODs, right? Just like, hold up.
Maybe.
How are they at the top of the standings, right? Because they had a phenomenal run today. Like Aqua and crew, they're running house for a little bit.
Yeah, well, in particular, yesterday they were doing the best, right? They were doing so well then. Day 2, not as great, right? They had some big games, 100%, but in comparison to their day number 1, I think where they were second at the end, they would be silly not to just go into the VODs for Mega and just be like, right, what were these guys doing, even for the small things, right? Yeah, if you're ever looking at your draw spot and you don't know, like, man, I need a good surge strat, you just look at the other teams, other regions, the best of the best who are doing it from your spots, and you can just mimic exactly that.
That's crazy. I didn't really ever think about that, but I feel like we're taking it to a whole new level right now as far as strategy and research goes. But yeah, listen, it's clear to us that something is different here in the play because they never position up here. So this is really awesome to watch them trying to make this spot work out. And look, we're seeing much more activity from them that we've seen, honestly, ever in these kind of early game situations. Look, another team's going to go and reveal themselves here. It's Colazo and crew. They're in a vehicle. Oh, no, just a little missed time, though. They could have gotten a lot of shots off on them and honestly put them in an even worse spot. Colazo loses all shield here. That might have been a crack from the hands of Mega there. Look at this. Nope. Duke uses in. Play's trying to get back into this.
I was just thinking, though, imagine if Mega, Dubs, and Rokane now go down to Storm Surge after we've hyped them up so much. Imagine the scenes.
I have a reputation, people, right? You know, you stay alive, you look good out there.
I'm cutting off my mic. I'm cutting off my mic. It's over. But see, this is what I mean, though. Like, because this is a north pulling zone, look at how many teams are now near Boney, right? This is the exact reason why they situate themselves in that spot, because they have just ability to hold everyone that starts to rotate through here. Remember their previous positions in the previous weeks? They were situated in that main, not on high ground, because they continually got ramped over, right? They just kept trying to replace it out. It didn't work out at all. They've adapted. They've learned. They put themselves into a very, very good position. Kind of, honestly, unlike Justice, Dukes, and Users. This is not what we've seen from them in the previous games. They, in the previous day, put themselves deeper into the storm and got themselves in such a good spot. But for Canada, Saf, and Stretch, we just keep seeing things we've seen before and then not, and before again. But for them, sitting themselves one inside the bush for Saf, this is always what they try to do. One player inside the bush, so they've got 360-degree vision with the other two sitting inside boxes. But do they know that Justice, Users, and Dukes is doing the exact same thing right next to them?
Probably not. I mean, Justice, Users, and Dukes did get there a little bit earlier, so that is something that they have to, the benefit over. But, one thing I do want to talk about for Saf, Kanata, and Stretch, they're having a much better day today. Granted, not the greatest games they're probably looking for because their elims were a little low in the first game, picking up that 13th place, but a 4th with 7 eliminations, then that 12th with 2 is not too bad. Much better than yesterday's surge performance that they were really struggling with in game 2, 5, and 6, right? So today, a much, much better Saf, Kanata, and Stretch. The cards are still on the table here for them to go on and sweep their way on up. Like I said, any of these teams inside the top 9 do have a fighting chance to catch up to at least top 3 now. Granted, if first, second, and third don't just break away with phenomenal games here in the last stretch.
Yeah, and from Saf, Kanata, and Stretch, they were actually
breaking off between Booga, Avery, Knox here, who again, this game don't have to use the surge, right? Adjusted the stress to go on up to Steven Stacks. But now, first K, Miro, and Day, probably not the same that we can say for them, right? They might just need this fight here.
You know, when I'm looking at their match history, out of the 9 games that they've played, they have been eliminated between 13th and 17th. So first moving zone in 6 of the games. Sorry, 7 of the games. 7 of the games they've gone down first moving zone, and the other 2 they've gone down to Storm Surge. So from a veteran team, a team that's won 2 FNCS finals, they placed 4th in another. Like, this is definitely a showing for them that shows that they are underperforming, that they're under practiced as well. Not even getting a single game into the top 10 is really, really tough to see. And it's definitely got to be tough on their mentality too. They're dominant in cash cups. They're dominant when it comes to other FNCSs, but now when it comes to this kind of format, they just clearly haven't practiced like they have in the other seasons, and it's just not paying off for them.
Yeah, it's really showing right now. The struggle starting to kick in, but hope is still there for teams to go and hop on up. Right now, Miro, Reverse 2K, and Day are holding top 25. So, you know, kind of towards the bottom of the barrel here. And off the England mark that we normally and traditionally do tend to see them at. Miro, Dan, Reverse 2K, still though, very, very deadly trio. This could spell trouble. This could spell disaster for a team like Aspect, Fizzy, and Cass, who do have that firepower. They have what it takes to hold their own, but you never really know with these top trios, right? Especially those that are at the, what I like to call the upper elite level, those FNCS champion-worthy trios like Miro versus 2K and Day here. They can really, they have that I guess, the history to do those 2-game comeback, right, against any caliber of lobby and shut things down.
And what's scary about them is the fact that when they fight you, it's over fast. It's over before you even know when it started, right? Like, one of the members of the team, like Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofishy, can just be picked up before they've even understood what's going on. You can see that right now. They're trying to set the trap. They're looking out for their prey. See Miro looking through the cone, Reverse 2K and Day down below staring up.
I was going to say, for all we know, this could be a sign to go for him. He's like, hey, they don't even have a cone up here. Like, let's do this, right? You know, like, you never know. You never really know what's going to tick off Miro or Day here to jump on in. Wood walls? Oh, yeah. That's a sign to get in. That's
wood
one
walls
sign.
And he's in.
We were wondering what it takes. You know, no cone, wood walls. Yeah, we're going in.
We're going straight, and Miro's inside the box. The AR spray only.
Oh, man.
Is that all 3 players picked up? I think a snipe shot actually came through at the exact same moment. Day has also been picked up now. The fire starts to come through. I think that was from a gas can at the same moment too, but I think they're going to be able to get the res off there. That was one of the fastest eliminations a full trio wipe, as I already mentioned, would happen, right? As soon as it starts, it's over so quickly. And yes, the third party spraying from afar definitely helped, but it was the speed, the pressure that they applied by just jumping straight in before Hoofishy could even understand what was going on, which netted them capped materials from now on with a launch pad too.
And that's the thing. You give Miro, Day, or Reverse a little too much time to plot against you, and it's over. They're going to make a strategy. They're going to have a game plan that's probably going to have a high success rate. You watch it unfold right there. Out comes the lobby pressure as they try to make this rotate. They're so close to getting on in. They do have enough mats to go ahead and commit to this, but look at this. They're just opened up to 4 different trio sight lines right now, and more on the mountain. I lied. It's like 6 or 7 here. This is a lobby focus if you've ever seen it. Oh, are they going to make it?
Not sure. All of them almost 1 HP. Reverse goes down out of the sky, but no, he may be able to get picked up, but that focus is going to come in from all of the lobby. Day now picked up to Miro, left on almost 10 HP as he's got 2 knocks in his box. The extra materials will be there if those finishes come off, but he's got to try and do something. Got to try to be able to get the res off if he can stop this unrelenting pressure from almost the entire lobby, but I just don't see it happening. There's no reason for them to stop spraying unless they just happen to run out of ammunition right now, but Miro actually may have an opportunity to do so.
You know,
I could be biting my tongue.
I was like, he's got enough heavy mats to like bluff out these opponents, right? Like, that's the real telltale sign. Like, does he switch to wood? Man, he's still on brick. No, we got him soon, right? Like, he's still on brick. Like, wait a second. He went through all of his metal and all of his brick, but that 1,000 material was enough to, again, just bluff out the team, right? Bluff out the opponents and have them second guess the fact that, wait, are there 2 people up here? Or like, what's going on right now?
but now they're only 8 above the Storm Surge damage. It is active. If these players start to go down, we're going to start to see them probably be underneath. Miro is now trying to get some tags as he goes at the same time, but there's not that many players in his sight lines. They've all managed to be raised. The shields have been popped, but all 3 of the members are on 125 HP. The tags come on out. They're now 95 above. 6 more players need to go down to the Storm. They seem to have the minis to keep themselves in it, but again, I don't think 95 above will be enough. If we see one of the teams that's above them on the Storm Surge leaderboard go down, we're going to see them go down below, but it seems like that has not happened. They are 156 above. They should be okay for these next 3 players to go down, and now they've launch padded deep into this 5th zone too, so they're going to be almost on that dead side, so they should have a relatively free next rotate, as they've also just conveniently landed on some hard materials.
I was going to say, you just found metal in the bush, by the way, that was left over from who knows who. P-God, TK, and Peterbot are going to be one of the trios that are based up next to them, but man, what a comeback for Daymiro and Versuke to just all of a sudden be back in the game like they never were, nearly just eliminated, taken out in completion there, but you know, they're struggling now. They're going to have to jump on another team. Next victim, potentially here, could be Saf, Stretch, and Kanata. That's a trio that's just right next door. Now, mind you, they are going to need a refresher, so we're going to see who they decide to go ahead and fight here. As we swing over to the other side, Gabe, Tagi, and Sprite still up right now as well. Who else is in this game here? I see Edgy and Commandment. Only 2, though.
Ooh, that could be tough for them. Maybe the camera just didn't pan and give us a full spread to see if we could see them there. Don't see Scented up at that moment. At the same time, Juke's still in this one as well as a full trio. They finally managed to make it past the Storm Surge as they're getting fully ramped by Miro. It seems like Daymiro in reverse may be going for high ground or just for a full play or a rotate. No, they're just trying to get ahead of the Storm right now. But Juke's Users Injustice, 4 eliminations to the name, 1,000 above the Storm Surge damage. Finally, we're starting to see them in top form.
Is this it? Is this their time to come back? Is this where they all of a sudden swing things back into their favor, take first place, and don't let it go? I mean, what we saw from them yesterday was just exceptional play here, especially when it came down to their endgame, top 10, round after round. They didn't drop a single beat here. Let's see, though. They're making this rotate. They're doing a great job here staying in front, but you notice other teams have this same exact strategy in mind. That's why Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day were swinging around the front. That's where normally you'd see Scented, Edge, and Commandment, but there's no Scented here right now from what we can tell. Reverse 2K is going to find Gabe there in the feed. Scope onto Thatch. Skittles is going to go down to Dictating. That's the high ground team putting pressure. Miro finds Calazo as well. So Miro, Day, and Reverse 2K are popping off right now at 5 eliminations. Mega Dubs and Rokane still alive here. They end up giving up the high ground to Wrigley and Dictating, and now they're on the low ground here, so they might be clashing up here against Duke's Users Injustice.
It might be all 3 teams that we're spectating currently on that low ground position. You got to think Scented, Commandment, Edgy probably around that same layer too. Jukes has changed that layer, got themselves up a little bit higher. They're still as a full trio up at the top here, still with capabilities of applying that pressure too. But Miro now, 5 eliminations on today, 2 eliminations onto Miro, and going for more, but he's going to be traded up instead, so it's going to be up to Day to see if he can apply that pressure, hit those shots back in return, and they might even be able to get the res off. They're not going to go for it at all. Reverse is going to start leading Day in, tunneling him, setting himself up into positions to get as many shots as he can, but no, there's a player in the back. The Mongrel Classic comes out. He manages to dip outside of the box, but only 62 HP remaining, but a lucky zone pull will pull back to him and give him time to breathe.
And just a great read right there to go ahead and turn around and actually just had a chunky shotgun shot right there to go and keep him safe in the game here. And that's Kanata, Saf, and Stretch who are just down below. Reverse 2K has to make a decision here. Stay on the level, burn these materials, or go down and face a full-on trio. I mean, decision's pretty simple here. Stay on the level, don't give it up, but they're going to be moving into Rokane, Dubs, and Mega soon, who are just in front here. So either way, a clash is going to happen. There's a silhouette. You can see behind the wall. Here they are. But Mega looking on the wrong layer here, almost drops his guard there and nearly gets taken out, but no, they end up giving up this grounds here, and they're still alive at the moment. Reverse 2K finds a full trio. Sprite, Tahi go down there in the feed. Reverse does find what he was looking for. Mega finds the refresher here. We're officially inside the top 8. As Justice finds Reverse 2K. Huge elim for him. Day's by himself now. That same layer. No, big shot there. Down goes Blake. Great points for him here. 6 already for his own individual elims.
6 for himself. He's sneaking, he's slinking around the back of the Storm. He's tagging a little bit of shot. He managed to have that chug cannon at the back there, keeping him in it, but with such low HP, he's gonna have to try and do anything. One single shot from any AR, from basically any shotgun will take him out, but he has the materials, so he's gonna cover his top. He's gonna cover his bottom, but he is on that second height, and that pressure is gonna start to come out from the top. A player's onto his wall, but no, he manages to block it off. He goes out, he goes for the shot. No, he manages to yet again disengage, get back out, but again, he's playing so careful, so fast. The player goes through from the other side of the wall, but no, he's out, and it's P-God who picks day up.
Oh, that was filthy right there. He was almost quick enough to do it. You saw the technique, the high-level play coming in, but P-God still so nimble. He's going to jump down a couple more layers. He's alive here. He's in a game, but the story is for Dukes, uses Injustice, who finally managed to make an end game here on day number 2. Dukes comes down. Huge shot, but it's a miss. It's not enough. User with a huge follow-up. Can he get this last one? This is important. It could be everything, but it's not the finish he was looking for. Saf does not manage to be enough here, but Agers on high ground with DJ and Skittles pull out a victory royale in the final moments.
In a classic high ground play style from DJ, Agers, and Skittles, in this next game, we have seen what is normally their play style, right? They just go up, they take it early on, and they dominate from high ground. We haven't seen too much of that from them. We've seen them a lot more on the mid layers, getting a bunch of eliminations, or just games where they flop a little bit more. But from Duke, Justice,
constantly fighting. It's not even about like, hey, what's the deal with the bodies of elimination? No, the top 10 are like, hey, we're just gonna start taking each other out because that's what we need to do to win, and that's what I like. But they're correct. Go the victory route. Let's go over to defense and Skittles. The bigger story here is Dukes and company. Remember, yesterday they had 5 games in a row where they held down that #1 spot, and going into this game, they finally were dethroned, but only dropped to second. And now with this game, Vivid, I don't know, man. They very well could be in first place.
Yeah, that was a huge game for them right now. No, KO Tabsy and Pledge, they still hold on, but as you guys can see, there is going to be a battle over the top 3 right here, right? It was a bad game from TabsG as they only got 21st, and then Scented Edge and Commandment that game only ended up getting up 13th, both of them getting 0 elim. So perfect opportunity for Justice, Dukes, and Users to have a good game and kind of put themselves in that running again. As you guys can see here, the top 3 is really close.
Yeah, 11 points. This is so tight with only 2 games to play, fellas. Unbelievable. But yeah, Dukes, Justice, and Users absolutely had to come through in that game, and they did. They've given us a real opportunity here, which is absolutely incredible. We also have the likes of DJ and Agents and Skittles, who were in 6th position there, and now go up to 4th position, so they're looking really exciting as well here. But you know, what I'm liking about this table is that even though we've only got 2 games to play, there are still a lot of teams in that 200-point bracket right now who still have every opportunity to propel themselves up towards the Axe of Champions. I'm excited about this. I know you boys are too, but it's looking mighty interesting indeed, Vivid.
Yeah, and what was crazy about that game was that Saf, Kanata, and Shredge were actually found on the low ground, getting 2nd place from the low ground, which was absolutely crazy because those guys love the high ground. So to see them down there picking up some good placement points is a sight to see.
It is, yeah. I mean, we look at the 11 through 20 position here as well now. I can see the likes of, Dave Trahi and Sprite there. I mean, Dave Mirror and Reverse 2K having, I think we're in 26th position, had not finished above 19th this entire competition, which is unheard of having last season's FNCS champions there. But suddenly they're in 13th now, having a whopping great amount of eliminations that last game, getting themselves into a position now where they could enter the top 10 with 2 games to go. They need more of that. We need to see more of that, fellas. Come on, they're my prediction. Come on. We've also got the likes of Bully, Chrisix, Bankteller. Obviously, yesterday we talked about these guys as well, who weren't doing particularly well, obviously being a third-party left, right, and centre in Steamy, but now they're in 14th position. So a lot of teams who didn't have a great day 1 are having a much better day number 2. I know there's a trio you want to focus on here as well, Vivid, who is exciting, and I think it's Mega and Rokane have particularly caught your attention.
Yeah, so I pretty much wanted to just highlight how that these guys are playing their end game, right? And why they are so good. So Rokin here is going to be expanding his Tarb, and his trio mates here, Mega and Dubs, are going to be getting into a fight. Over here you can see this wall is breaking because they are getting pressed on this wall, right? But Rokin doesn't go back to help them. He actually starts to break this wall right here. That way he can get a separate angle on the fight, and as you can see here, it works out beautifully. Bully kind of oversteps, kind of steps into this box that Mega, Dubs, and Rokin have control over, and the only reason they have control over it is because of piece control. So great hindsight from Rokin here, getting a different angle on the fight. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out here was that Mega is so smart. Look at this. This floor right here, if you guys are paying attention, you can see that it just got placed because it's building. If this floor just got placed, that means that there is a player up here, right? And then Mega knows that he has piece control over here up on this cone. This is incredible. This is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. Mega basically grabs the edits on this floor and this cone up here, right? Because he knows that there is a player up there because he saw that floor build. And watch this. When he grabs the edit on the cone, he can see a little sliver of the player through that cone edit come right through. So he makes the edit, drops the player down, and finds the elimination.
Amazing. Amazing.
Only Vivid has eyes like that. He has special eyes, okay? That's how he was able to capture that. Fortnite fan, we're getting ready to jump back into the action. We heard the battle bus, which means we're jumping into game number 11. Only 2 more games before we crown another set of champions. So buckle up! We're going back on the battle bus. MDF, Reese, back over to you.
Here we have it. Just 2 more games left, Reese. It's time to start, decking up the cards here, playing the right hands, because the opportunities to bring it on home is starting to run out. But we do have ourselves a competition up at the top. You saw how close it is. Just a couple points separating our first, second, and third teams. And if the games continue to be as consistent as they have been for a lot of these trios, I mean, our final game, it's going to be pretty ridiculous.
It's going to be pretty crazy. We have to keep an eye out in the elimination feed for Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge to see if they go down early. If they get a 0-point game in here, for Dukes, Justice, Users, the same thing, and for Commandment, Sent, and Edgy. If any of these 3 teams go down, it opens up the field for any of the teams 4th and below to really, really catch up. And if Tabs, GTO, Pledge, or any of the other 2 teams that we mentioned there, the current top 3, managed to maintain a good amount of points, 20-ish points every single game, it's going to be tough for anyone else to win. It could be it.
Yeah, that might be it. If it's like a 20-point game for, I'd say Tabs, G, Teo, and Pledge, and Dukes, Justice, Users, or Commandments and Edgy don't match that energy. Like that might be it. Like, our top 5 teams are really going to have a great game this game, or their tournament might be over. There's no more room for error.
No, when 10 games are done, 2 games are left, there's only so much you can do. There's only so many points that you can accrue in 2 single matches. 2 single victory royales alone will be 60 points. Add the eliminations onto that. So for some of the teams like Saf, Kanan, and Stretch, who are currently in 6th, who are already 66 points behind, man, that's a tough one to go for first, right? 6th place is incredibly good. They're going to be definitely playing for a top 3 unless we see some crazy turn of events from Tabs, GTO, and Pledge, who we already know have only had 1 bad game, and that was their last game that they just played.
Majors, DGen, Skittles, though, 104 points. 104 points on the day. What a good day for them so far. It's great games, being consistent, staying hot on the heels of the opponents here. I do wonder, as this one starts to conclude, when it's all said and done, where are these teams going to end up? They're in 4th right now. All right, they're in 4th.
I want to know. They are indeed. So they're currently in 4th, 235 points. So 51 points behind currently in 1st. However, only 16 points behind 3rd place. So they definitely have a potential to overtake Commandment, Sent, and Edgy, as Commandment, Sent, and Edgy's last game, 13th, 0 eliminations. Very uncharacteristic for them indeed. So we've got to keep an eye out for these teams in 4th and 3rd. And obviously Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofishy, who are very, very close behind, also in 5th place. And it really could go down to any of these who's going to be going in that top 3. And remember, for anyone who's remembering this, top 3 will auto-qualify you through to the finals. But look over to Ager's team again, getting into this engagement that we've seen them hype up so much against Colazo's trio.
The thing is, we just watched them. They were, cruising nice and pretty down to Sunny Street here, and all of a sudden, turmoil on the horizon right now. Colazo on top, holding this high ground. They have them pretty much on a defensive stance right here because, well, why would DGen, Agers, and Skittles want to throw away this game right now? Obviously, they were tagged up first. They're by all means doing the right play right now by waiting to see if Collazo, Lazard, Trashy come down and make an error here, right? Reveal themselves. Collazo could be the first one to get targeted. We'll see who they decide to jump on.
Yeah, and we know DJ's team doesn't have that many materials. However, Collazo's team did manage to get
Aegis
that
is out of
llama
mats.
already. So yes, he's completely out. We know the other team has a ton of materials left, so Aegis is going to have to try and get up in his face. But no, all three of them are just going to jump straight into the car and try to make a getaway. But no, Aegis is tagged up big time.
No way.
DJN is only taking 50 damage, but that car is really, really weak as well. And if this blows up right now, that could completely take out Aegis. But yes, it's a Need for Speed style getaway, and they are out of it. Let's go.
How in the world did they just survive that? And they didn't even lose a single tire, by the way, so the car still has some decent health here. They're alive. They make it out. That was a getaway. That's what Fortnite's all about right there, isn't it?
You got to think, are they going to be chased, though? I can see the names over there.
Oh,
and
no.
it's Damiro Reverse.
No.
The one team you probably do not to pull up you, but I don't know if they've even noticed yet. They must hide. You guys have to hide behind this. Cover your line of sights. And Damiro Reverse have gone past, completely oblivious to the fact that DJ and Agers and Skittles are here at the edge of the map with nothing. No materials. Roll on through here right now, but no, they've not managed to spot them.
Mind you, Reverse Decay Damiro, they rotate out quick for a fight. So, like, that is quite literally what they're looking for. Yes, they are looking for a fight. And, man, I hope you guys, you can breathe now, right? If you were holding your breath, it's okay. They survived. That was insane. Just, you know, near Elim experience, if you will. Back to back.
100%, 100% for them, right? That's going to be big. And remember, because they are currently in 4th place, that could have thrown, honestly, if they went down there the whole tournament, if they clutch up a big game in this, that, remember, the fact that Damiro Reverse just drove by and didn't see them is indeed legendary.
That would be so crazy. This you could make a whole montage out of this one single game here, how quickly things just could have crumbled for them. So, all right. Now we got something to root for. Agers, DJN, and Skittles here, whether or not they can actually bounce back here, pull a victory. Now, if they do, there'll be another team to go back-to-back today. So, guys, mind you, this is a very tough ask we're putting on the table here. So, you know, bear with us. We're asking for the near impossible, but it is possible. They're still alive.
It is indeed, and this is the remnants of what we saw. This is where Damiro and Reverse were headed. This is the destination they had on their GPS in that car, and they were pushing into this fight that we've seen so many times, but it seems like they're not looking to take it. This fight has obviously gone on a long time between Bank Teller's team going against Clix's team here. They're not looking to see if they've cleaned up any remnants. We saw on the map that there was a singular player at least up to the north, but they're just going to get on out here. And what I can see is that neither of these teams have actually been eliminated so far in this game. So unsure where they are. It seems like they may have disengaged, but they didn't disengage past Damiro in Reverse.
Yeah, they were just a little too late to get to the steamy stacks here and try to find the fight. I was about to call it the Kevolution Energy. I was like, huh? Wait a second. No, yeah, you know, the steamy stacks powered by Kev. You know,
there you go.
You see it. I see the vibes.
I saw there was a DreamHack question. The only time I ever saw. What was the name of the steamy stacks? What's it called? And I remember on that day I'd played Soul Arena, walked past and read that sign, and I've been dropping at that drop spot for 7 seasons, and I was like, oh, this place is called the Kevolution Energy.
Oh my gosh, that's actually incredible. Little things like that, little Easter eggs inside the Fortnite world. Yeah, look around, man. The art team's got some cool stuff planted everywhere.
100%, 100%.
Brocane, Mega Dove's back in a new position now. Hey, they're just trying everything, aren't they? They went south this time.
Yeah, and actually one of the things that's cool is you can see that Weeping Woods, like, because the trees that have been just completely ripped out, right? You can see the fire damage that's caused them to knock all the way down. One gas can or a couple fireflies, because the trees are so close to each other, just wipes out basically this whole area. So if you want to rotate through here, if the trees are there, great, your sightlines are covered. But if you want to get Storm Surge tags, those trees cover every single player trying to rotate in. So if you're Dubs, Rocane, and Mega, and you want to get tags, you just burn down this area using potentially the fireflies or the gas cans, and it just opens up so many more of your sightlines. But again, it's a tough place to get tags on because of the hills. There's still a lot of ways that your sightlines are blocked in there too. So we'll see how that Storm Surge strategy plays out for them.
Yeah, definitely. It might work out though. You saw right there, they caught a couple tags onto Acorn, Jack and Slacks, who were just rotating up from the steamy kind of area there. Night Shark and Clarity have already done their bum rush into the Holly hatchery for a fight as well. You can see they're looking to get out. They've been using this whole use a vehicle, hop on a team strat. It's been working out for them so far today. Aspect, Who Fishy, and Kaz on the other side playing deep zone right now. Slow and steady.
I'm trying to figure out what the play is from here. Why they've ended up so deep. I mean, they have really good loot. 127 builds on Aspect as well. Potentially they're trying to keep their distance from a specific team that we saw was close by, but maybe a storm fight ensued because they seem to know something that we don't, that maybe in Believers Beach there's a team roaming around deep in there that they're looking to get tags on, that they're going to hold down in storm, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing any names pop up. I'm not seeing anyone on the map. Oh, there they are. Now they're starting to come in. Okay, Aspect, I think, has spotted them. However, yes, the sniper's out. He's going to try and look down long range, see if we can get anything through. But I don't know if this is going to be worth it, because the longer they wait here, the longer they're going to have to rotate, the more teams are going to be sent to the
Yeah, the other thing is, you know, how active have they been? How many fights have they gotten into, right? Like, they might have survived this first kind of surge situation, but, you know, the game's going to continue to roll on. I think it's worth noting that this lobby here is going to really entice the other team on the other side to go ahead and get inside. It looks like KO and Pledge are in a better position. They're on the backside of these walls, but do they own them? How much control do they have here? And they need the surge. So yes, this is going to be a pleasure for Pledge now. If he can find his shots, but no, he gets punished pretty big there. He's got to be careful and look for a new angle. Come down, slow down, and start healing. 40 seconds. They have plenty of time to find these tags here, but they need to do it now while they have the attention of Who Fishy shooting these builds. everything against it. Literally, they know that is the team that can actually take home the #1 spot right now. And all of a sudden, Duke, Justin users are also granted another opportunity in this lobby when they should not have it. They should not have this chance right now. That should have been wraps for them.
First team just made a potential. Also, the thing there, but not only that. Oh no! He's now left at the back as a solo as Justin is picked up from the time as he's got lobby focus from outside, and Donnie's team did not pick up the knock, but they're going to finish and get all the loot for that too. So Jukes and users now left in this as a duo. They're fine on the monsters, but they're not very fine on the rotate. Very much similar to in game number 7 when we saw Hoofishy's team burn that launch pad to get themselves into a better spot. We're seeing it again, but now they're switching to full metal builds. Will they be able to suppress the lobby focus? It seems like the eyes are not on them, which to me suggests that the eyes right now are still onto Donnie's team. So potentially not going for that fight was not the correct play.
Oof, they just pulled that off. They just managed to stay alive a little bit longer. Scented also by himself right now, split up from Edgy. Edgy on the other side, fighting Skittles here. Edgy, this is a very important 1v1 right now. First, second, third, all of which have had their own tumultuous games here, having struggles coming into this round right now. Aegis and Skittles find one another. Sense and Edgy will find one another. They are still in the game. So now another team has been fragmented here. Another top 3 trio all of a sudden has lost a member, and they are having a hard game. And this is an important, very, very pivotal moment for all of these trios here.
Look, think about this. First place, Sam, Teo, Fledge out of this one. Second place, third place, and fourth place teams, being Jukes' team, Commandment's team, and DJ's teams, are all duos. So right now, our top 4 are completely in shambles in the second last game of the finals of NA East. You have to think the Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofishy, if they have a big game, or even Saf, Canada, and Stretch, if they have a big game too, this could hugely alter champion of the region.
I mean, you said it that was like a game-altering moment right there. And this is a lobby focus comes in still, so they weren't even completely left off the back to it. Scented gets deleted out of the sky. Down he goes. And Edgy's going to come down for the quick save. He does land on top of the box. No way. Edgy's going to be able to get this pick up here. Users and Dukes might be able to recognize the fact that this is a weak build next door. No, they're not going to see it, but Visuals comes on in. Oh, pros don't fake. Edgy should have committed there. And look at that. Now Scent is going to get wrapped up, and Edgy's on the run here to try to stay alive. He's running past tons of trios, and no additional focus is coming in. It's all or nothing now as he's scrambling here to stay up. He's starting to run out of the heavy mats, and there he goes down, and that's it. Third place out. It's even closer now.
Third place is out, but second place right here, almost out. Jukes pops the med kit, no shield to his name, and I'm pretty sure User still has some in his inventory, but them as a duo is so tough. Another duo underneath them, Day and Reverse as well. I don't feel like we're even watching trios at this point. It would seem like every single team that's had a contention spot, that's had a pop-off, seems to be in this game as a duo. So for Users and Juke right now, they hopefully have that launch pad that they can able to get something, but no, they're playing that signature aggression when it comes to fifth zone. They want the refresh. They want to ensure that they can keep themselves moving through the first moving zones, that 6th zone.
And don't forget, guys, Agers and Skittles are still alive here. That's our 4th place team. Just paired up right next door. No, Agers is down. Jack Acorn and Slacks are still up. They still have a chance here. On high ground is Bizzle right now, but Users down to 1 tag. Users falls. Dukes now has no HP. He gets landed on by Jack and Slacks. They're next door, and they get him taken out. Down goes Dukes, and all of a sudden that is it. 1, 2, and 3 are out of the game here. The standings are open officially for the other trios to jump on up to really set us up for a close final game 6.
Which leaves Aspect team still in it, and it was Kaz who actually picked up the 1v2 onto Asia's team, so huge plays from them. Stretch still in this as well, our number 6 team. Not playing their usual high ground playstyle, but they're close, and if I would bet any money on it right now, Stretch is gonna look up. He's gonna see Bizzle up on high ground. He's gonna start squaring. They're gonna look to claim the victory royale in this game. They are not a team who is just being mid-ground layer. They're a team who wants to play right, and they want to pick up the victory royale.
There's an opportunity right now. Of the lifetime here in this tournament. Trying to get broken out there. Stretch is the only one who manages to take Sonata. Barely sees himself there, almost taking fall damage and getting taken out of the right. Here it is. Gabe is going to go on the ball. All too low. That's still up. Other names still in this game as well. I am seeing, of course, Avery here. Who Fishy and company still up too. And there, Kanata does manage to get down to his trio. Here's Stretch trying to branch his way on up. This is reminiscent of the final game of last season as we saw it all come down here. But don't worry, we get to continue this arc here today because we still have another round in front of us. Depending on how this plays out though, Reese, Stretch could jump up to top 3 here.
He could indeed, and this is such good awareness to make himself all the way up this hill. But no, Kanata is picked up at the back, so Stretch and Saf as well also picked up to Jack, who is just behind them on the leaderboard. So Stretch is now alive as a solo. He has to make sure he gets up this hill as fast as he can, as he's got Bizzle right on his back. But no, he's a great solo player. He understands exactly what he needs to do. He's got himself in that good position and hopefully clutches himself up. Big placement point 2. But Booga finally putting on the show with Notch and Avery today, but no materials. They can't get out. They can't even build up with that single build that he tried to drop to Avery, so they dropped down to the back of zone to avoid any of those eliminations giving them to anyone else.
All of a sudden, Chris ends up on the high ground here. He's putting extra pressure down into the lobby. They're looking to take home the victory royale here. Stretch still alive, the most relevant player in this end game right now in a top 4 situation. Now, don't forget, Stretch has had phenomenal solo performances in the past. One of the few players to actually take crowns home as a solo player, showing us what he's got. But there's a full trio on top. He's just got to survive at least one more team for some more placement points. I think he's done it. I think he actually punched out the top 3. He's playing the storm here, nice and slow. Can he steal away any of these feelings right now? Wait, this is winnable. All of a sudden, this is very winnable. Stretch on high ground. It's a 1v2 situation. He's out of mats though, Reese. He hits first. That's one stop. No. Then it comes through. Chris clutched this up. Oh my gosh. That was so close.
That was so close. But for visuals, big LG, Joji, and Chris as well. They're going to pick up the victory round in the second last game for that as well. For them, they were looking really, really good at the end of day 1, but I'm not sure how close they were to the top at the end of turn our current leaderboard, so how much that actually impacts